It's 2024. You've been waiting months, maybe years, for a new PC game to blow your mind. The trailers were stunning, the hype was real, and then you hit install. Moments later, you're wondering, did I just waste $60 on this? Well, you're not alone. Welcome to our list of the top 10 worst PC games of 2024. Stay with us because number 1 is so shockingly bad, you'll be glad you never played it. Let's dive in. Number 10, Suicide Squad. Kill the Justice League. Despite the hype and DC's iconic characters, this game suffered from repetitive gameplay, uninspired missions, and a loot system that felt completely out of place for its theme. They killed the Justice League, and also the fans' excitement. Turns out, being a villain isn't always fun. Many gamers complained that the story felt half-baked and the multiplayer mode lacked depth, making it a letdown for both solo and co-op players. Instead of building on the charm of its universe, it left players wondering why it strayed into live service mediocrity. On top of this, numerous bugs and performance issues marred the experience, and the live service elements made it feel like a cash grab rather than a labor of love. The end result? A missed opportunity to create a truly iconic superhero title. Number 9, Concord. Marketed as a bold new sci-fi experience, this game ended up feeling like a rushed project with bland environments, shallow mechanics, and forgettable characters. Concord was supposed to bring harmony to the gaming world, but all it did was strike a sour note. Players quickly grew bored with its lack of innovation. Its procedurally generated levels lacked variety, and the storyline, what little there was, failed to captivate. The repetitive combat system, coupled with dull visuals, left players feeling disengaged. Many compared it to earlier sci-fi titles, claiming it borrowed heavily but executed poorly. Technical bugs further frustrated players, making it one of the most underwhelming releases of the year. Number 8, Life is Strange. Double exposure. Fans were thrilled at the announcement of this next installment in the beloved series, but when it launched, players found themselves wading through a narrative mess filled with overly dramatic plot twists, lifeless dialogue, and uninspired choices that barely impacted the story. They promised us emotional depth, but we got a puddle of melodrama. And don't even get me started on the performance issues. Even the characters looked like they wanted to quit. The double exposure theme, an artistic motif hyped pre-release, came across as gimmicky and underutilized. While the series is known for its impactful choices, Double Exposure's decision-making system felt shallow, with outcomes barely affecting the plot. Critics also pointed to underwhelming character development and pacing issues, with some calling it the weakest entry in the franchise. Combined with frequent bugs and graphical hiccups, it left fans disappointed and nostalgic for earlier games in the series.
Hail Satan. Edgy.
Ready to pledge yourself to the Prince of Lies?
Something to bring you back to the beginning.
Number 7, Silent Hill, the short story. Horror fans eagerly awaited this entry, but it turned out to be more of a short nightmare than a full-fledged scarefest. The game lacked depth, with a story that ended abruptly and mechanics that felt outdated. Silent Hill may have a legacy, but this short story felt more like a rough draft. The atmosphere was haunting, with eerie sound design and creepy visuals, but that's where the positives ended. The gameplay suffered from outdated combat mechanics, poorly designed puzzles, and a lack of innovation. Its abrupt ending felt rushed, leaving players feeling unfulfilled. Silent Hill's strength has always been its ability to unsettle players through psychological tension, but the short story relied too heavily on cheap jump scares. Overall, it failed to meet the high expectations set by its predecessors. Number 6, Graven. This dark fantasy game promised a return to old-school RPG roots but failed to deliver due to clunky combat, confusing mechanics, and an uninspired world. Graven was supposed to carve its name into gaming history. Instead, it barely left a scratch. Players expected intricate world-building and engaging quests, but instead got awkward mechanics, inconsistent difficulty, and a forgettable narrative. The game's environments, while initially impressive, quickly grew repetitive, and the combat system lacked the fluidity and balance needed to make it enjoyable. Its attempts at nostalgic charm were overshadowed by poor execution, leaving fans frustrated rather than entertained. Number 5, South Park, Snow Day. Despite the charm of the South Park brand, this game's mechanics were shallow, and the humor felt forced and repetitive. Snow Day? More like a meltdown. Even Cartman would rage quit this one. While previous South Park games captured the essence of the show, Snow Day felt like an afterthought. The game's simplistic mechanics and lack of depth failed to engage players for long. Graphically, it didn't measure up to modern standards, and its attempts at humor often fell flat, feeling recycled from older episodes. Fans of the series deserved more than this lackluster effort. Number 4, Skull and Bones, a pirate adventure that promised high seas excitement but delivered repetitive gameplay, a barren open world, and an over-reliance on grinding. Skull and Bones? More like Sunk and Buried. This shipwreck of a game missed the treasure entirely. After years of delays, fans expected polished gameplay and innovative features. Instead, they got monotonous ship battles, uninspired missions, and a lack of meaningful progression. The open world felt empty, with limited opportunities for exploration or interaction. Many players criticized its live service elements, which turned the game into a grindfest rather than an adventure. What could have been a swashbuckling success became one of the year's biggest disappointments. Number 3, Alone in the Dark. This reboot of the classic survival horror series lacked tension, with predictable scares and clunky mechanics that ruined the immersion. They should have left this one in the dark. Fans deserved better. The game tried to modernize the franchise but failed to deliver on suspense or polish. Outdated visuals, poor AI, and a lack of innovative gameplay mechanics left players unimpressed. While the original Alone in the Dark series was groundbreaking in its time, this reboot felt like a half-hearted attempt to cash in on nostalgia without offering anything fresh or compelling. Frequent technical issues, including frame rate drops and crashes, further frustrated fans.
I don't think I'll be able to get in there.
Number 2, LEGO Horizon Adventures. This LEGO spin-off tried to combine the beloved building mechanics with an open-world adventure, but ended up being a monotonous grind with little creativity. Even LEGO couldn't hold this one together. Horizon Adventures lacked both horizon and adventure. While the idea had potential, the execution lacked the whimsy and innovation of previous LEGO titles. Mundane missions and repetitive objectives drained the fun out of the experience. Players noted that the game's open world felt lifeless, with few incentives to explore or engage with its environments. Technical glitches and lackluster graphics only added to the disappointment, making it one of LEGO's weakest entries to date.
And the wilds are a little safer. It's right in the can!
Number 1, Dustborn. Dustborn aimed to tell a compelling post-apocalyptic story, but was plagued by clunky dialogue, poorly designed gameplay, and technical issues galore. Dustborn? More like Dust Forgotten. This game was all hype and no substance. Its promising concept of storytelling through music was overshadowed by unresponsive controls, underdeveloped characters, and frustrating glitches. The combat system felt tacked on, and its unique art style couldn't save the game from its overall mediocrity. Players who were drawn in by the intriguing trailers found themselves disappointed by a lack of meaningful choices and an uninspired narrative. In a year filled with exciting releases, Dustborn was a glaring misstep.
Get up now. What the hell? Why did I say those stupid things? I have a medical degree.
And that's our list. What's a PC game you think deserved to be here? Drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more gaming insights. Until next time, game on, and maybe steer clear of these titles.